Hi guys, welcome to episode 3 of our Mark 2 Escort build. In this episode we're going to be bolting the carbs up to the engine, seeing what we need to cut, if we need to cut around the battery tray, cutting out the area for the radiator. I think I might actually pull the engine and box back out to put the manifold on, just to double check that, and see where else we can bolt to it. So let's get cracking. So as you can see, carbs are bolted in. You can get down there to clearance, super tight. May just have to notch the battery tray a little bit, but seems like I won't have to cut anything off it. Well, anything major off it, which is a bonus. Just need to allow for a bit of engine movement. Everything else looks like it's going to work. So next task is to mount the radiator in the car. Obviously, because the Pinto sits further forward, well, is a bigger engine, not sits further forward, is a bigger engine. This needs to be cut out. Not too sure exactly how much needs to be cut out, so I'm going to do some measuring and then go from there. So we're just going to cut the panel using the air saw. Just make it noisy. So we're just going to try and test fit the rad. I know it's not going to go straight in, but just to see what else we need to add some clearance to. Oh, so can't seem to get the radiator in because it's either hitting the battery tray or hits the brake lines, so that's not a problem. But the other problem is I need to cut this section away, so I remove a couple of wires, just make sure I clipped out the way, push the water hoses out of the way, and do some more measuring. So looks like this support's gonna have to go. With a bit of reverse engineering using this piece, because obviously this piece transferred down to this, essentially across this little line. It's going to be tight, so I'm going to remove this piece and work out how much I need to cut off this to go further down so the rad slots in nicely, and then I can just cap that bit off with a new fresh bit of steel. So just going to have to remove the grill and do some more measuring. So that's that piece removed. Normally you wouldn't have to drill big holes like that through the panel, but this had obviously been previously, I think the front panel's been replaced on the car, so rather than spot weld it, they'd like blob welded it, so I couldn't get anything from behind to try and grind the welds out. So just drilled through. I'll repair those with a bit of a plate behind them, pool weld them, and just give that a flick of paint, and that'll be that fixed. So now the next task, let's do the lower radiator cutout. So after burst searching, it seems that we need to cut this about 62 mil deep. I'm just going to use this panel and just draw around that for this measurement. But depth wise, I think it's 62 or 68, I'll have to double check that now. We've cut the top part, so we're just gonna have to measure the bottom part now. Come down here and obviously across here. So I'll just get my measurement double checked, mark it, and then get cutting. So that's the lower radiator section cut out. I haven't test fitted the radiator yet, so I'm not too sure if I've removed enough, but I've gone off the measurements that I've found. To be honest with you, this radiator install's gone a little bit longer than I thought, so I'm not too sure if I'm going to get enough content for a longer video, but I'll keep plugging away with the time I got and see how far we get today. So after much fiddling with the radiator, I've grabbed another one out of the little store area. I got a couple of spare bits. This one again mounts up, mounts a bit more flush, but the problem I'm having now is the bonnet catch is hitting that part. So someone must have come across this problem before, or I'm doing something stupidly wrong. So a bit more potching, and hopefully we'll figure it out now. I've lifted it up on the different mounting holes. The bonnet will close there, but seems like it's sitting a bit too high to me. I'm not particularly keen on how it looks so far up, so take 3. So I've mounted the radiator back in again. This time I've used a little well, nut as a spacer just to do a test fit. I've got the pipes on, they clear everything. It's sitting a bit lower, which does look a lot better. So we're just going to close the bonnet. There we go. I think I'll just use this radiator instead now. So that took way longer than I thought it would. Bit stupid really, but it's in. There's one more job ticked off the list. So we'll just move on to the next one now. Next job we're going to do, just test fit the exhaust manifold. I thought you might have to take the engine back out to do this, but I think if I just remove the studs, I think I'll be able to squeeze it on in there. So let's give that a go. So that's the exhaust manifold in. I just loosely chucked a bolt in there and a nut on there. So tight, but still plenty of clearance. Next, I'm going to mount the filter, pressure filter and regulator just down by there. So just going to modify the bracket and do that. So I just shortened the bracket a little bit on the pressure regulator. So I can just secure this camera up here. Mount it down there out of the way. That means we can run the fuel line under the other side of the car to this. Make life a bit easier there. So just mark them. But if you've never used a riv nut before, these are a really good way of putting a thread into, say, well, the bulkhead here. You shouldn't have to use a nut and a bolt. So that's the filter and pressure regulator mounted there. So we'll have to get a new piece of fuel line, but I'll just run down to the outlet part of that filter pressure regulator, and then the new fuel line can run underneath the car on the passenger side rather than the driver's side, and just run straight to the bottom of there. So another job ticked off the list. So just a view from underneath the filter pressure regulator, so the fuel line can come down here and run down this side of the car. Obviously there's a couple of reasons why I'm not going to leave it this side. One, I'm going to have to move it over to that side anyway. Two, it's really close to the exhaust. And three, the fuel line just could do with replacing. We're only going to have to run the feed line, not the feed and the return, because the return line isn't used on the carb setup I got. I'm just going to do a quick trial fit of the rest of the exhaust to see what other bits I need to order. And I think that's about it then, but we'll try the exhaust and go from there. So that's the exhaust just quickly test fitted. I didn't even realise that it was one which come across the car and went onto the normal side of the as the crossflow. It's catching my ramp a little bit, and it's only just placed in, but at least that fits. So that's where I'm going to call it an end for this episode. Didn't get as much done as I needed to or wanted to, but sometimes it goes like that. If you've got any comments, just put them in the comment section, and if you liked the video, just make sure you like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you for the next episode. Cheers guys.